Hello and welcome to another episode of the James Granström podcast Super Soul Model series. This show is all about how to live life as if everything is rigged in your favour. If you're looking for ways to unlock your full potential and enrich your life, you've come to the right place and you're on the right podcast. I help people take care of their mind, body and soul using practical solutions and tips. And I'm here to help you rewire your mind, body and soul so that you start to release stress, release anxiety, and start tapping in to these higher, subtle, feel-good energies. And as you do, your life will begin to change. So let's get on with the show today. There's this beautiful quote by Rumi, and he's a Persian poet. Rumi writes some of the most magical poetry I have ever come across. Now, he was fully tuned in and tapped into life, and Rumi's quotes are still powerful today, and he was obviously clearly ahead of his time. The title of today's show is How to Live Life as If Everything is Rigged in Your Favour, and it's a great title for the show today because it seems like external life, if you're reading the news or keeping up with current affairs, it can seem like everything is going haywire. And that is why I particularly want to do this show today, because I want to share with you ways in which you can take back your power instead of leaving your attention focused on current affairs and the external environment where you will never have true control. The only control you'll ever really have is on yourself. So today's subheading of the show is how to rewire your mind and live as if everything is rigged in your favour. So there are two types of law. There's two ways to look at it. There's Murphy's Law, which is anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And there's Rumi's quote, which is live life as if everything is rigged in your favour. One is negative, Murphy's Law, and one is positive, which is Rumi's. Now, what's the difference? In my previous podcast, I talked about the red man versus the green man. The red man, when you get to the traffic lights and you're having one of those red light days when you're hitting red light after red light and the people you're trying to call aren't calling you back and you're up against stress, that's what I call the red man. That is when you're going to be able to access Murphy's Law from that state of mind. And in contrasting manner, you'll be able to access Rumi's everything is rigged in your favor when you're in this green light zone, this green man zone, when you're hitting green light after green light. You're in this flow state of flow and less resistance. They're two vibrational states and they both exist within you, and you're tuning into either one or the other. And the better you feel, the more you'll be hitting those green lights, and the worse you feel, the more you'll be hitting those red lights. How to live life as if everything is in your favor. Let's just start up a little bit just so that you really get into understanding the principle. Your mind gives you more feedback of whatever you're giving your attention to. That is your reticular activating system based at the back of your skull. So whatever you're giving your attention to, your mind will show you more of it. So if you've got a car, it will show you more cars that are similar to you. If you're looking to buy a new car, it will show you more of those cars on the road that you're looking to buy. If you have a certain piece of clothing, there's more chance that you're going to see someone else wearing it unless your nan made it for you. So that's what I'm talking about. Your reticular activating system is to show you what you're already giving your attention to. Now, if you're giving your attention to things that are going wrong, then that's what you're going to see more of. And if you're giving your attention to things that are working out for you and going right, that's what your reticular activating system in the back of your skull is going to show you more of. It doesn't care, it's impartial, it's like the universe, it's like life, it's like divine intelligence. It doesn't care. It exists within you, and it's just going to give you feedback of what you're already giving your attention to. So if you're coming from this flow state, if you're coming from Rumi's How to Live Life as if everything is rigged in your favor, it's as if you're coming from a glass half full. You're coming from this positive perspective. But there's a lot more to it than just that. But that's just the entrance understanding to this. The difference between these two states of mind depends on the way you look at the circumstance and you look at the situation. If you want to see things as if life is rigged in your favor, then it's important to really come from the perspective in hindsight, and it's easier to see things in hindsight rather than when you're in it. But when you're in it, and this is what I'm wanting to share, is to increase your awareness so that when you're in a challenge and you're in a situation, can you see this as if it's rigged in your favor? And yes, maybe it will go your way today, and maybe it won't go your way today. But either way, for the greater good, for the highest purpose, in the long run, it will be rigged in your favor. There's this great new show on Netflix, and it's called The Playbook, and it consists of all these different coaches. And the last episode I really loved, and it's by this basketball women's coach called Dawn Staley. And Dawn is one of these beautiful human beings who's really captured this essence of flow, of someone who has really seen like life is rigged in her favor. She's a really humble and wise lady. And in 1991, she lost the NBA Women's Championship Finals just because her shot on hoop, which was 2 shots, didn't go in. Now, 30 years later, she coached a team into winning the women's first championship. 30 years later, she coached her team, and her team became championship finals for the first time ever. And she has this big plaque on her wall when she walks in, and it says this: delay is not denial. Because when you understand this, and you understand this principle, and you're able to remain focused, it's because life is rigged as if everything is in your favor. So when something happens to you and it doesn't happen the way you want it to, don't think that it's still not rigged in your favor, because what you give your attention to is what you're going to get back over and over again. And if you look at these coaches, when they're trying to win and putting their heart and soul into coaching teams, what they're trying to do is get everybody to get on the same page, to understand that this is the ethos, this is the vision that we have, this is what we're driving towards. And sometimes there are going to be delays, and sometimes there are going to be challenges, very much like our singular life. But if we just allow ourselves to be victim of challenges and problems, then what's happening is we're never remaining focused. We're just reacting to what is. And that is what I call the loop of lunacy, just going back over and over again to think that life isn't fair and we are problems and victims. But a champion, whether you're in a team or you're a champion in your own life, you want to be your own hero, and your own hero has to be focused enough to realize that there can never be phenomenal success without challenge and adversity. Because how would you know the difference? Every time you have a big goal, you have to experience the exact opposite, and then start along that journey to understanding what it takes to truly have that mindset, to truly be that human being in that position. You know, it's just like every master, as T. Harv Eker once said it, every master was once a disaster. And what he's saying is that everyone has to start somewhere. And the Buddha said, every journey starts with a single step. So just take that step, take that positive step, use that positive framework over and over again to condition your mind to realize that there will be challenges, but that doesn't mean that life isn't rigged totally in your favor. Because when you do, you will enter that roomy state of mind, you will enter that green man zone, you will enter that flow state, and life will begin to morph for you, because that's what you're giving your attention to. And of course, your reticular activating system is going to show you more of that. Now, I have a case study. I've talked about this once before on a podcast, but since then something else has happened, and I want to back this up. So these are true facts that really actually happened to me, and I want you to start paying attention to what's working for you. So a case study: about 2 years ago, my friend and I were looking for a place to move to. I'd split up with my ex, moved in with my friend, and he'd moved into this temporary home, but we were looking to find a new place to live, because the place that we were living was getting developed, and we didn't want to go through rental agreements with new landlords, etc. But what we did have was we had friends around us who are property developers. Now, what happened in a result is that things worked out for us. Not only did they work out for us, my friend that I'd lived with wanted to buy a house, but he didn't know where to buy. And suddenly, right opposite the house that we were living in, a house became available on auction. And he ended up bidding on it and winning it, all within the time frame that worked out for us to be able to move. Now, since the auction, we'd lived in that house for about 1.5 years. Now that's going to get renovated and made to look absolutely beautiful, which is amazing. So I'm so looking forward to moving back in there. However, because we decided that there must be a time when the renovation must start during COVID, etc. There's challenges of all those types of little details that are important. What we realized is, let's set a date and let's create a space where we can start looking and move to a new place while this place gets renovated, because you don't want to live in it whilst it's getting renovated. Lo and behold, a friend of ours who lives round the corner, and I mean round the corner, said, I've got a property available. If you boys want to move in, you're more than welcome, and you can have it for as long or as short as you like. And do you know how long it takes for me to walk from the old house to this house? I'm going to tell you, and you're not going to believe me. 40 seconds. I can actually see the house from my bedroom window of where it's getting renovated. So this is amazing. And it's like as if life is totally rigged in my favor. And that's because I'm choosing to focus on what's working out for me all the time. Now, this is focus, guys. This is how your attention works. Focus on what you want and you will get it. If you can focus with little resistance on what you want, you will get it. But most people focus on things they want with resistance. That is why there is a large delay in coming. The delay is taken away when there is less resistance. So to live life like everything's in your favor, it means you have to start to release suffering. Now, I've had a lot of suffering. We all have a lot of suffering. Suffering is something that we experience as human beings. Suffering is a path that us humans learn how to do things better, how to choose better, how to focus better, how to get on better with other human beings. Because ultimately what we want to do is love and be loved. And whenever there's suffering involved, what that means is there's huge resistance involved. And suffering teaches us in the sense that it's allowing and wanting us to come back to our own true, unique connection with the divine, infinite intelligence, God, the universe, or love itself. And that's what's important. So it's basically getting out of our head and more into our heart. And the more that we get into our heart, it seems as though the less suffering we have. But in order to enter the heart, what we need to do is learn through awareness, through the mind, so that we can enter the heart, because that is where the magic is. This is what I always tell all my clients. The magic isn't in your head, the magic is in your heart. And to live in a heart space is a very different place than living in your head space. You do need the both, but you want to be living from your heart, because as you do, it knows, it has this incredible intelligence. It's intuitive, it's instinctive, it's powerful. And from this essence, you are radiating this higher frequency of life. That's why you notice things like kids and pregnant women are attuned to swimming with dolphins. The dolphins go straight to them. Why? Because they're in more of this heart energy space. So you want the dolphins to come to you, you've got to start operating from this wonderful heart space. If you want to see life from a new magical perspective, you've got to start living in the heart more. But how do you do that when you're suffering? Well, this is what I'm going to share with you right now. So once again, I just want to say this. Suffering is a lack of connection to your divinity, to your true nature that exists, which is basically saying is that you're not living in the heart. You're thinking more in your head and living more in your head than you are in your heart. And you suffer less when you start to live more in the heart. And suffering is also a desperate need for control when one is out of control. And these podcasts that I deliver, and these podcasts and all the content that I write, is basically trying to share with you an awareness so that you can tap back into your inner power and take back the control that you feel as though you've lost. And I'm going to say feel as though you're lost, because you're looking at it from a different perspective rather than the true perspective, which is your divine true nature. All our circumstances are different. My circumstances are going to be different to yours. We all have different cards that we're dealt with in life, and it's all about how we play those cards in the game of life. Life is really a game, but really the most important game is to love and be loved. And when we're feeling love and when we're feeling loved, it's like our cup, our divine cup, our heart energy is being poured and overflowing. And that's really where we want to live from, because that's when suffering subsides and that's where grace starts to flood into our lives. Part of the journey of learning to love and be loved is learning to love yourself. That is absolutely key. And it doesn't mean there's conceit, it just means there's appreciation for oneself. And when there's appreciation for oneself, that is almost the greatest gift you can give to yourself over and over again. It's self-love, self-approval, self-appreciation, kind towards self. Because as you are kind towards yourself, what happens is that floods all your energy and allows you to tap back into that heart center where your magic and your power resides. Just remember, whenever there are challenges and you do have sufferings, just remember, you've always got a chance to get it right. Life is really funny. It will always give you an opportunity to go, here's another way, here's another chance. You've got another run at this, kiddo. You can do it again. It's like I watch the athletes over and over again, try to get it right. They fail one year, fail another year, and then suddenly they get on their momentum, they get on the feel good, and then things start to come and work into place. If there are any athletes out there watching or listening to my show, I would really love to talk to you, because there's certain things that I personally believe from a coach's perspective of how you can create, a great athlete and how to focus and how to improve. There's certain things you need to anchor into the body, but it's also all about the feelings and it's all about the emotions, because the nerves can always get to you, and that's like the challenges of life. Life comes at you, and it's how you respond rather than react. A reaction is a quick snap return, but a response is something chosen, that's chosen with awareness. And when you come from this awareness space, there's a larger chance of you being able to have control, be in your power, tap into your power, and experience your full potential in that, because you're not in that panic mode, you're in a response mode. Reaction is a panic mode, and response is a flow mode. So just remember, whenever there are any challenges in your life, whenever there are any problems, in order to see that life is always rigged in your favor, you need to just change the way you begin to look at things. Because there's always another chance, there's always an opportunity to get it right. And it's always with hindsight, when you look back, that you'll realize that, okay, things did work out. So if you can look at your own experience, if you can look at your own challenges and go, well, if I look back, that actually, I'm still here and that did turn out okay eventually. That is one way to realize that life is rigged in your favor. Just because you weren't feeling that or experiencing it in the moment, you can now look back in hindsight and go, okay, that did kind of work out for me. So if you've broken up with somebody, if you've lost your business, or you're short of money, or you're experiencing some sort of challenge, whatever that may be, maybe it's a health challenge, just realize that this is setting you up for something greater. And life is rigged in your favor, so that you eke out these types of suffering modes, so that you can start tapping into your true potential by learning and growing in wisdom and growing in understanding about how to look at things and reframe things and rewire your brain, so that you're not going from that reactive mode, but you're coming from this response mode. Because when you become more responsive, as I've talked about a few moments ago, that's where the magic happens. So what are the ways in which we can live like everything is rigged in our favor? Number one, positivity. Positivity, having a positive mindset, is the key to be able to reframe the mind so that you can see life rigged in your favor. Like I mentioned at the beginning, if your glass is half full, then you're definitely going to be able to see things more rigged in your favor, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever you focus on grows. So if you're looking at things that are working, if you're looking at things that are going your way, then you're going to get more of those. Reticular activating systems just going to show you more. Positivity is the key. And the more positive you become, the more it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and your energy just goes higher and higher. And as your energy just goes higher and higher, you shoot for the moon. And that is when you start to see life from this new perspective. And that's how I've been able to do this podcast, truly conditioning myself over and over again, rewiring myself over and over again to look for the good, to look for what's working out. And life just becomes a lot lighter, life becomes a lot more freer. Not to say there aren't challenges, but things do work out, and that is beautiful. Number two, gratitude. Gratitude will tap you back into grace. And grace is that state where you move from suffering to grace. Grace is the space where you move out of suffering and into this new beautiful state. When you move from suffering and you become more grateful, you realize that you move out of the head and you move into the heart. And when you move out of the head into the heart, you enter this state of grace. And this state of grace is beautiful. It's like you're connected to life again. I personally believe that gratitude is something you're going to learn in this lifetime. And if you don't learn it in this lifetime, you're going to have to learn it in another lifetime, because essentially this is a practice, a spiritual practice that will take you back home, and your home is back in the heart. Number 3, look for what's working for you. When you're looking for what's working for you, you're going to get more to see of what's working for you. That's what I mentioned earlier, the reticular activating system. Keep looking for what's working out. Get a book out, write out today, at the end of every day, what worked out for me today. And even if it was the smallest insignificant thing, like, oh, I got into the queue at the supermarket and I got seen very, very quickly, and I got a little deal at the supermarket today on something that I was looking for. That worked out for you. Did the sun come out just as you walked out your front door, or was it raining when you walked out the front door? If the sun came out whilst you were walking, notice it and just go, that worked out for me. You've got to train your brain to look for what's working out for you. Number 4, appreciate Mother Nature. Look up into the sky, look at the stars, look at the sun, look at the trees. Appreciate Mother Nature, because when you do, that energy that exists in Mother Nature that's helping move the trees, create the elements, create everything that's alive around you, is also moving through your veins, is also beating your heart, is also, expanding your lungs, is also helping you breathe, is also growing your hair, skin and nails. All of these things are magic. And this energy that you'll see in the beautiful, marvelous natural world is also within you. So appreciate it, get tuned into that divine intrinsic nature that exists within you, and you'll realize, you'll begin to tap in to this higher energy, and this higher energy will show you that life is conspiring to help you. Number 5, this is one of my favorites. I learned this from Neil Donald Walsh in the book Conversations with God. When in doubt, ask yourself, what would love do now? Now you experience a challenge, you're having a challenge, you're right in the midst of it. You've got to ask yourself, what would love do right now? So you're unsure whether you should go this way or this way. You have to ask yourself, what would love do now? Would love tell me to go to this place, or would love tell me to go to that place? When you're interacting in business or with other people or close relations, always ask yourself, what would love do? Because love will always guide you to the right direction. And if it feels good, it is good. And that is the key. When it feels good, it is good. So remember, allow yourself to be guided by the question, what would love do now? And that will help you tune in to seeing life from this higher perspective and conspiring in your favor. Number 6, trust and follow your instincts. This is simple, but a lot of people don't necessarily do it. They get too in their head, and in their head you're trying to figure things out, but just trust the instincts that are coming from you. Now, it's easier to trust your instincts when you are a little more confident in your own ability, and that is why learning to operate from a higher level, you will notice that those instincts and those gut instincts are just a lot more easier to understand and be able to understand the feedback. I'm always fascinated by people like Alan Sugar and people in Dragon's Den. They just get this feeling about this particular person. That's because they've been listening to their guidance and their gut all this time about making decisions, because they're constantly having to make decisions. The more little decisions that you make regularly and line up with the decisions that you make, which is, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna focus my attention on doing this. And then you're pouring forth the energy in advance before you get there. What that is doing is helping conspire your life in your favor, because you're giving yourself time to focus. And when you focus on something rather than just quick, snappy reaction, when you focus on something for an elongated period of time, there's energy flow towards that. And that helps you when you arrive at that place. Maybe it's on a holiday, you're thinking about holiday in advance before you go. And just before you get there, you're excited about the holiday, you're excited about the beaches you're going to go to, you're excited about the food you're going to eat, you're excited about maybe the hotel or villa that you're going to stay at. Obviously, this is post-COVID and pre-COVID. just think all that excitement, energy is what you're sending out in advance. And when you get there and things are brilliant, then you can realize it was you doing it. So that will show you that life is conspiring in your favor because you sent your energy out in advance. Set your intent before you get out there and realize when you get there and things are good, it was you who did it. Number 7, look at all your previous challenges that you've had. Are you okay? Are you still living? Are you still breathing? Then if so, things have worked out for you because you're still alive. And if you're still alive, that means the light is on. And if the light is on, it means you've got work to do and a life to live and some joy to experience. And a life with experience and joy is so fulfilling. And you've got to realize that just because there have been challenges, it doesn't mean that it hasn't helped you grow. Previous episodes I've done, let pain be your teacher. So go back and check that out. I'll have that up here. But if you let pain be your teacher and you look at your previous challenges, it means that from those challenges you grow. And from when you grow, you can now look at life from a new perspective. Because if you're still living and you're still breathing, then everything is still working out for you. Number 8, how to hook up with divine intelligence. Divine intelligence is like the force field around you. It's, as I said earlier, it's the energy that's pulsating your heart, helping you breathe, moving the trees, growing Mother Nature, moving the oceans. If you talk to any surfers, I love to surf, every surfer realizes there's something really special going on in the ocean. The ocean is never the same. You look at waves and sometimes they're similar, but no wave is identical. And it's a bit like us as human beings. No human being is identical, but we are part of this larger ocean of consciousness. We are part of this larger, beautiful energy system that's been set up especially for us to enjoy. So in order to hook up with this divine intelligence, in order to hook up with this beautiful positive energy, dance, exercise, meditate, pray, just get yourself in tune with this higher energy. All these things help you tune in and get you out of your head and more into your heart. Because when you hook up with this intelligence, when you hook up with this higher energy, when you hook up with this higher power, boom, you're going to realize that life is conjuring up goodies for you. And you know, every time I come back from a run, I feel so super clear and I get new ideas for a show, and new ideas for a podcast, or a new idea for my clients, or a new idea to write a piece of music, whatever it is, it's amazing. So just take that time to really tune in, because these ways are ways to show you that life is conspiring in your favor. And number 9, last but not least, create some affirmations. Create some affirmations so that you can focus on what it is that you want, because when you focus on what you want, you're going to get more of what you want. And an affirmation may be something as simple as this: life is always working out for me. And if you have that simple affirmation and say it and notice things that life is always working out for you, you're going to get more things of life working out for you. I learned that from Abraham Hicks, and it is such a powerful affirmation. If there was one affirmation that I would ever use, it would be that: life is always working out for me. And since I started using that, it becomes infectious. It's like I'm infecting my mind with a positive brainwashing affirmation statement, because now I'm looking out in my world to look for things and evidence of things working out for me. And that's how you begin to rewire your brain. Does it happen immediately? No, but it takes time. And when you look for things and evidence of things working out for you, boom, you're going to see life conspiring in your favor. If you've liked the show today, please give it a like, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and please share. Everything on the show is here to help you transform and tap into this higher energy so you can rewire your mind, body, and soul and live life on your terms. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, I wish you green lights all the way.